Okay. So meeting has started, recording has started. So hi all, welcome to another day on this JMeter course. So as discussed, we were I discussed earlier. So a small recap. So we started the this HTTP protocol, right? So in this we covered about request response, right? And we were talking about this embedded resources and other thing. So and we talked about the architecture or request. So we will continue with that. We'll continue that. So let us again start this Mozilla Firefox. Fine. So again, that same exercise. So let us say I'll put www.amazon.in. So you see the request here, right on top. This is the request, correct? Request here, and that goes like this. So this is HTTP HTML request, right, which is generated from user end, and it goes to the server as a URL, and then server sends us the response. Response always comes in code format, right? So if you click on the response tab over here, you'll see uh, raw. Okay, so by default it looks like that, but it's not the real thing. Here, if you see raw is there, right? So if you click on raw, you can see this is the code. So response always comes in code form. Not only this website, for every website, if you go and check, it's like that only. So if let us say this is the Google, right? And
Of cities and communities.
So this is Google, and if you right click and if you click on view page source, so this is the source. Even you can check in network tab. Go to inspect and just refresh this. So this request of Google, you can see here on top, it got fired, right? And response, we had a response, but this response in code form. This is the same code which you get here by clicking the view page source, right? So remember, always response comes in code format. So once if the response comes in code format, then code or text format, you can say text or code format. There are different types of responses also. Most of them are HTML response, right, which will be having HTML coding, XML, and JSON. Mostly three kind of response are there. But do not go in that much detail because it's a beginning and it may be confusing. But let us say if some person present here who might be having some technical knowledge. So response has also a type. They are of HTML type, or XML type, and JSON type. Okay, but for now let it be. You understand it's a text format or code format. So this is everywhere. This is the case for every request on any website or any application. So always server sends the code. Okay, this is the coding that developers do. So basically everything developer do is coding only. So we will be getting the response in code format. Now, then if the response is coming in code format, how we are getting this beautiful website, right? That will be a question. So um, see, once the response comes to the browser, right? So this is the request that went to the server. Right? This request, and we got the response which is in code format. Once So request went and response came. Once the response comes to the browser, which is in code format or text format, the work of browser is to render or process it, because the code who will understand, right? So browser will render it or process it. That is the work of browser. So while processing it or rendering, processing the code or rendering the code, you'll observe it will download the embedded resources, or which are also called as non-HTML resources, right, on the page. It will download the embedded resources or non-HTML resources on the page. Okay. So, and that is the reason you see that downside, you see font, style sheet, script, all these things are downloaded. So basically they are retrieved from the source, right? This goes everywhere, not only this, even one more example, like let us say. So this is the best, right? So this is page, and you can see here, just a very, it looked very simple, right? This is the request, this is the response, which is code format. And after rendering, it looks like this. Uh, on this page, when rendering, most of the embedded resources present here are they are mostly JavaScript files, JavaScript or image, so a small image. So PNG file we see little bit, and then some style sheet CSS file, right? On Google page, you will see they are somewhat a mix of JavaScript, image, PNG, WF. Correct? You see this WF. You can check in the extension as well. On this Amazon pages, why you will observe they are very much. Why? Because Amazon's Flipkart, they are more resource intensive, or you can say image intensive or data intensive websites, right? So that's why you see here, suppose I'm scrolling down, you just check in the type only, or JPEG or image type, right? You see image type mostly. Why? Because so many, it's the page is full of image, right? So the page, the images are rendered, processed, and then they are downloaded, right? And so that is what processing, rendering and processing, and then we see this page over here. Then this page is made. Okay, then this page is made uh, after all this activity. So this thing, whatever the category that you are observing here, those are called embedded resources. The CSS file, the JS file, and these all lists, right? CSS file available there on every page. It will be there for every request. It will be there. They are for beautification. Its full form is just cascading a style sheet. So they are responsible for the beautification of the page, like themes, layout, design, right, of the page. JavaScript does logical functionality on a web page. Now, what is that logical functionality? One example I'll show you. So there can be multiple logical functionality, and then image, videos, fonts will be there, right, with this extension. So you'll see all the other file apart from this CSS and JS, all other file will be having this. So they are what image, fonts, and videos, because they make the website. Right? They had to be loaded. You see, whole many things are there. Image is there. Fonts means the look and feel of the text that is there, right? Some in which text, in which format they should be there. That is form. Icons will be there. Image will be there. Okay, so these things will be there, and that is how you'll see them over here. In this one. Right now, one example of so you got the idea, right? Images and other thing, no doubt here. Now, one example of JavaScript, CSS, JavaScript, right? So I'll tell you one example of JavaScript. It got loaded. Yeah. So right click somewhere and let us go to inspect, or we can also press F12. Now if you see, I'll click on login button. So one pop-up will come. This is the pop-up, right? What I'll do here, I'll give, it is asking for mobile number. I'll give wrong mobile number, means generally mobile number of 10 digit. I'll give of 9 digit or 8 digit. It's 9 digit. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 1, 9, 10 digit. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on OTP. So see, did you see on network tab anything happened when I clicked on there? Nothing happened, right? Or again, I'll show you. Just focus there. When I'm clicking here, nothing is happening, and here one red message is coming. Right? You see, here nothing happened, right? So this red message, it's saying that please enter a valid email ID or mobile number. So from where it is coming? How the page is knowing, right? So for that, so this is one example of JavaScript thing. So like that, on a web page, there can be many logical activity being done on the user side. And for that, JavaScript files are there. Okay? JavaScript file are responsible for that. So on this page, there is a JavaScript file which checks the input, and if it is not correct, it throws the message. You see in the red, it's showing please enter valid email ID and more. And so it checks that, right, before sending it to the server. It check it locally at the user end only. So this is the work of JavaScript. So this is one example. Like that, many things will be there which JavaScript does. Now, see why they are called embedded resources. So to show you this, I will click on one more. Suppose I'll click on washing machine. Washing machine. And you can see here one more request also got generated. And that request is on top here. Type document HTML. Transfer size will also big, you can see. A little bit you can match with this one, right? So this is the request which went to the server, right? And the response came. Again, same way, this response will also be in code format, right? Once this code comes to the browser, browser renders that. And again, for this also, you'll see it's rendering the images, right? Same images, style sheet, scripts, all those are downloading. And so that is called rendering and processing, right? Or you can say processing, downloading, processing, and rendering. And then we see all this arranged here properly. Fine. Now, why there is name for this? Why there is such a name for this embedded resources? Okay, why they are called embedded resources? Because the information for this file, any file that you see out of this embedded resources, that is inbuilt, or you can say that is embedded. Okay, that is embedded in the response of the main request. So any one example you can take. You can take all example, but suppose this is just over your mouse somewhere. So suppose see this this is a image file. You can see here image file or any file. Like let us say click on this. So this file. So it's representing this image, which is I think this one. This one. Fine. Now this image has a name. You can see here it has a name here. Image. Like that, everything will have a name here. it has a name. Even the uh, style sheet files have name, right? You see .css, .css. So everything has a name. You can take copy any of this name and you can go to the response. Like this is the request and this is the response, which is in code format, right? And just press Control F here in this by selecting here Control F and then Control F and then put Control V, right? And then hit the enter button. It's showing, but there is a dot in that. Yeah. You see, it's showing, right? So like that, so many. So here also one image one. So like that, right? So for each content that gets loaded here, okay. So so like that, all the content that you see, whether it is image file or the CSS file or JavaScript file, for all these, the information is there in this main response. That's why this is the main. This is the main code that comes from the server. Once this code comes, then that is when the browser is processing this code, and then it's downloading all the images, rendering them, and then we see this website beautiful. So this is how things works, right? Now we'll again talk on this later on, but first of all, one another thing. So each request that goes to the server, remember, has two different. So before that, so you got the idea, right? Why they are called embedded resources? Because their information is there in the main response, right? Main, or they are also called a non-HTML resources, because they are not the original code, right? They are not the original code. They are the substitute. They are the output from that original code or original text or original response which is coming from the server. Now, now let us see next topic. So, see, we have request and we have response. Now, each request, remember, is divided into two parts. One is request body, and another is request header. And same way, response is divided into two parts: response body and response header. So you can check here. Uh, this is the request. Before that, first understand. So each request, right? The request that goes here, we see. So that each request is divided into that is a request as whole, but it divided into two parts: request body and request header. Request header. And same way, the response that comes, which is in code format, response. That response is also divided into two parts: response body and response header. Okay, response body and response header. Now, what is there in request body? Remember, two things are there. So request body, request header will be called as request. Same way, response body and response header will be called as a response. And each remember, every request will have these two parts, and every response will be having these two parts: headers and body. Okay, whether it is request or response. Now, what is there in request body? What is there in request body? So in request body, the URL that or the request that goes from our side, or means whenever we'll be doing any action, so that request which gets generated, that is there in uh, request body. Okay, that is the part of request body. Fine. Plus, so that is this will always be there. Then plus payload. Okay, payload. Now, what is payload? Payload. Payload is the user input or the form data that we send from our side. So let us say you will be on some page, right, where you have to enter username and password, or you will be on same where you will be some page where you will be doing registration, or you will be on some page where you will be uploading photo, or you will be on some page where you will be uploading documents like that, right? So this thing that we send from our side, the user input. The user input can be anything: username, password, your address, whatever you fill, a data from your side, and that you send to the server. Right? Suppose you are on page and you are putting the user credential, username and password, and then you are hitting the sign in button. So request is going, right? But with request, what is going? Your username and password is going to the server, right? Or let us say you are on a page and you are uploading a photo. So obviously request will go, but with request, what will be going? The photo will be, that is a file. File will be going to the server. So these are called payloads. Okay, they are form data or the user inputs, right? So that will be also part of request body. Remember, okay, that will be also part of request body. Any request, if it has a body, you will see a request body tab here. So for an example, I'll show you. Let us say the same Flipkart. Let us say if I click, if I type correct mobile number, it's 10 digit now. And if I hit the request OTP, you can see a request has made here. This request. And if you go to the request tab, I think this is actually I didn't clear the previous log. So it got what we say, it got mixed with. You can add it. Fine. Right. So you see, this time I have given a correct 10 digit number, so we didn't receive any error, right? And you see this post request. So this is the request, and if you go to the request tab, you see this the mobile number that I entered, right, went to the server. Uh, Correct request payload. You see that, and response again. That this is a JSON response which came in code. So I think two or three requests were there. One is this one, and another one is this one, which is this one. Right. So you got the idea, right? How a payload will look. So like that, anything you will be sending, you can always check. Even suppose you are logging to your Google Gmail account, next time you try that. You just open the network tab and go whenever you are putting your username password. You will see. You can check how it is going. Right? In the there will be one request in that, and in that payload will be going. Right? Or you upload photo. So all these things. Right? So these are part of request body. So what are the part of request body? Request body. The part are the URL, and then sometime the user inputs, or it's also called as payload. Now payload is not everywhere, right? Payload thing is not on every page. Like currently here we are not sending any payload. We are just clicking. We are just doing click. We are not sending anything from our side to server. So no payload. But whenever let us say on some page or some transaction, if you are sending something, that request will have payload. So these two things will be part of request body. Correct. Now response body. Response has two parts: response body and response header. So in response body will always have the code or the text, right? So the code or the text that comes, that is the part of response body. So this is clear. Now comes header. So now got the idea what is request body and what is response body. But what is header? Correct. What is header? So again, in the same tab, if you see, in header, whenever you click on any request, let us say this is the request and this is the request. So the first tab that comes is header only. And in this only you will see here response header that will be on top, and request header here, which will be downside. Okay. You see response header and request header. So that is what. So the request header are additional information which goes to the server with request body from user end. Like whatever the request is going, right? So with that request body and request header will go. So these are additional information which goes to the server with request body from user end. Okay, basically from browser to the server. These are additional information, and each request body or each request will have a request header. Right? And same way we have response headers also. Right? On top we have response header. So again, what are response header? So response headers are again the additional information sent by the server. See, these are the thing that is additional information that is going to the server. Okay, to the server. This is to the server, and this is coming from the server with the response body. Right. This is with the request body. This is with the response body from to the user. So one is going and another one is coming. But these are additional information. This is also additional information, right? And every response body has response header. Now, what are these additional information? So additional information, if you just observe, there are something in that request header, and you see some names are given except in encoding or this stuff here, right? You see, and then we have the value. So no need to remember them. Just we have to understand. So few like accept language, cookies will be there, cache control, post, and refer, user agents, right? So these things are there. And same way response header also, if you see, uh, same way cache control, this thing content type, date, some things are there, right? So this the blue thing that you see, it's a attribute name with value. These are the value which changes. Okay. It never remains same. It changes for website to website, response to. Here also these are the attributes. Attribute means the name. They remain same, but the corresponding value same. Changes for every website. Okay. So these are the additional information, and do not get confused by looking into. Do not worry also. Slowly you will understand. But no need to worry or no need to get confused. Now, so these are the what additional information. What it I've just written also. Now, why they are there? That question will be there in mind, right? Because they looks they look something like typical, right? And we do not understand them also. This thing we understand. Okay, this is request. This is request body. This is understandable, right? But what are they, right? What are they? Normally, even you will not also understand. So, right? No one will easily understand because they are very peculiar. They are very typical thing, right? So that's why they are additional information. Now, so that is the question why they are there, right? So they are there because server recognize each request because of this. So I'll just give you an example. Think like that. That let us say Amazon website is there, and so many people, like 1 lakh people or 10 lakh people, are using Amazon. How server will remember which user is what, which user is who, right? And what to send to him. Because on Amazon application, right? Think like that, that 1 lakh people or 10 lakh people are sending requests to Amazon, 10 lakh requests per hour, suppose. So it's a very huge, right? The Amazon server is there. He's responding each of them. Who is responding to each request, right? Parallelly, so much load. Correct. How he recognizes that which request is who and what to respond him. Correct. Right. So there should be mechanism, right? There should be some identity mechanism. Otherwise, he can give a wrong response also. So a small example for that I'll show you. You do one thing. Uh, you can open one browser in your laptop, same browser, any browser. So open the two instance, means two window of that browser, right? And open the same website, Amazon or Flipkart in both of them. And if possible, parallelly, anyhow, if it is possible. So almost in same time. Here, suppose you search Nike shoe, and here you search Adidas shoe. You will never see the result getting mismatched. Means Nike shoe result is coming here and Adidas shoe result is coming here. It never happens. So why or how? How so precise? Right? There should be some question. Right? Even though my laptop is same, my browser is same, my application is same, right? My Wi-Fi or IP address, what you say, that is same. MAC address of laptop, that is same. We have not even signed in, right? We have not even signed in. Then how this precise thing happens? Right? How the server is recognizing that using the same laptop, two requests is coming, and to which browser to, what to send, right? How he will know? Understand this? So this is a small example. So think like this. Think like it on a bigger scale. Like 10 lakh people, if they do, so how the server will recognize? So they recognize each request according to these headers, and these headers are important for that purpose. Okay, so that is why headers are there. So headers makes each user action or transaction unique to the server, so that server can recognize that the request uniquely out of so many same requests and sends the correct response. They helps in server right recognizing and sending the correct response. So this covers the request. Uh, we have 5 schema of HTTP protocol. So we covered the request response header. Now let us talk about request method. So every request has request method or types. Okay. uh, Whenever you do this activity, you'll observe here methods will be there. Method and a status. So this is called response call. So which is a fifth schema, and this is method. So every request has a method. It will be a get request or a put request, okay, or put or delete. Right? So like that, there are almost 8 type of request method for HTTP protocol. What are they? Get, post, put, delete, option, head, connect, and trace. Out of these three, will very rarely see anywhere. Okay, and you'll very rarely see these three requests. This option request is just checking kind of a request, so it's not that much important. These 4 requests are very much of important. Get, post, put, patch, and delete. Now, out of this also, these 2 request types, method types, request method types, you will see rarely, or when you are doing API testings, there it will generally these types of request will be there, put and delete. Okay, but again, when very rare in any functionality, this happens. Most of the requests that you will observe, you'll see will be get and post. In that also, get will be very much, very huge in numbers, right? Now, why get huge and why post a little less, and why we do not see these two other things? So we'll understand. So see, any request that is just as a click, that is just a click, is always a get request. Okay. So on Amazon only, suppose we clicked on the refrigerator, so that was a get request. Or if you are entering the email ID, sorry, the application name, it's a get request. If you are clicking on this, let us say this is also a get request. You can see here. You can go and check. So get request means just fetching the information about that product. Okay. You have to reload this. So you can see here get request, right? So like that. So most of the click that we do, all are get request, because you are just like you are clicking and a request is going, and request is telling that send me this information, send me the information. That's it. So when we are reading just the information, right? Uh, those all are get request, and mostly all requests are get request. It means the get the information. Simple. I'm sending a request, fetch me the information, get me the information. Post request. Post request will be those requests where you will be sending user input. So on any page, if you are sending any user input, username, password, registration, anything, if you are uploading file, all those requests will be post request. You are posting some data to the server. Okay, so posting, correct. So you are posting some data to the server or sending some data to the, so it will be post. Put delete. So that's why whenever you see post request, only when you see when you are sending something, some data is a payload, those requests will be posted. But again, you do not have to worry about. Just I'm saying, all you can see here. Right? We don't have to worry about. We have to just understand. Right? We have to just understand. Like um, what are they? Yeah. So we are just understanding. We are not designing or we are not doing anything. This is already designed on any website. The developer will do. Right? We have to just understand. Okay, this is get. This is a put. This is a post. But it does simple that much. Put or patch or delete. Uh, Put and patch first. So this is there used to update. So all, let us say there is already some information is there in DB and you are sending a request to update that. So that update functionality will have put or patch request, and delete is to delete anything, delete any data. Right. Now this all four requests uh, works like a CRUD operation of DB. So this is just an additional information I'll be sharing. This has nothing to do with the method. Okay, and it will just refresh our memory also. So in SQL language, if you have observed, or if you might have little bit idea of that, we have a CRUD operation. CRUD means create, read, update, and delete. Right? CRUD queries are there. So read is generally reading the data from database. So what is the read query? For reading, uh, read query is the select statement. Have you heard of select, right? Select a star from some database table, right? So that will just fetch the details from the that table, right? So it's a read. That is read. Create is for creating the records. So for create we have insert query. Correct, insert query. Then we have update query. You might have heard of update query is there. Update to update something in database, and then delete query is there to delete the stuff from data, right? So how they work, the same. This they also have the same mechanism. Get will just fetch like read or fetching. Post means sending something, right? Uh, Sending or creating, right? And a put or patch will be used to update, and delete is delete, right? Now we have a status code, and next is the fifth schema of HTTP protocol is the status code, or which is also called a response code. So there are 5 types of status code. One is 1x series, 2x series, 3x series, 4x series, and 5x series. We'll be understanding about this series again in future, but just for information now. See, 1x series, this kind of a status code, you'll see very, very rarely. Even I have not seen this status code till now. Okay. Mostly on the website, whenever you do any transaction in network tab, you'll see 200 series and 300 series. And in that also, 200 or 202 and 201. You'll observe 200 is very often. And in 300 series, you'll see a font 302, which is redirecting request. 300 all means redirecting, and move permanently. I think 302 sometime. Okay. So this one, right? And if you observe this kind of a status code, we do not have to panic or do not have to worry about them. They are success, even if see they are in green or yellow. So they tells that okay, um, your whatever the request is went to the server, that was success. Okay, that was successful. 300 is also related to 200, which represents redirecting. Okay, so on some transaction redirecting concepts is there, like mm, I think yesterday on Amazon only I've shown, right? Let us say here, if I click on buy now, so two requests got generated. Let's see. I see here this 302. This is 302. You can see here, right? 302. And then after that we have this one 200. 302, another document where that is here. So this is one request and this is one request, two requests. Okay. So we did one transaction clicking on buy now, and this was 302 got generated, which is called redirecting. And then we have another request which is here. Two requests we have that. Okay. You can also check. If you check on them, click on them, you will verify the response. It responds or this one. Okay. Now, what are these redirecting requests or how it works? Again, I'll be talking about them in future. So for now, let it be just you see, right? So they almost it is 300 requests are interrelated to 200 requests. Okay. Now, what we have to worry about is this 300 or 500 series. In performance testing, see this is deep RAID. So whenever we do performance testing or load testing, this will be the error codes with this error message, which we have to test for or look for. So suppose you are putting a load for 1000 users, 2000 users, and then you see that bad gateway or service not available or gateway timeout, right? So mostly you will see internal server error happening, bad gateway, 502, 503, 504. These four error codes, this represents the that server is throwing error. Okay, you will not see them even very often in the website, because very rare nowadays websites are going down. But yes, suppose you might have seen some websites going down, so they throw this kind of errors, right? But when we are testing, that time we will observe, because that time that is where we are testing, right? So in the real testing phase, uh, um, in performance testing, when we are increasing the capacity or yeah, we checking the capacity of application, we will always see this. That is why we are doing the testing, right? To get the idea that okay, on 1000 user load, what is the response of server? On 2000 user load, what is the response of the server? How to fix that, right? If response is poor, then only in real time 2000 user can use, right? So before real user can use the application, we have to test it. Right? So that is what performance test. Now 400 series. This is also important. You can see it's in a little red color. They are huge in number. 400 series happens when we prepare our script and work on the script. So we are going to work on the script, right? So that um, our tool can do the performance testing, right? So we are going to learn that only, that how to get the tool do its job, right? How to get the tool do this user activity on an application. How to get the tool do the user activity and put the user load and get the time response times and other matrices, right? So the process of doing that is called scripting. Okay, the process of making the tool do that activity or do that job is called scripting. Now when we are prepare our script and when we run the test, generally this kind of error will come. 400 series, and 400 series is client error. Client means user error. User, it means that if something user is sending something wrong from his side, to the server, obviously server is not going to respond correctly because you are sending the uh, details wrong, right? So that time we if you are testing your script, right? If you are running a test and if this kind of 400 series error came, so it means that something is wrong in our script, okay? And we have to fix that. So most of the 400 series error that people will observe are 400 bad request, unauthorized, forbidden, not found, method not allowed, request timeout, and yeah, this much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 types mostly. So bad request means if the request is not correct, the request that goes to the server, we will make the tool send those requests, right? And that is why we are learn this request. So whenever we are doing a user action, user is doing this, correct? But we are going to learn that tool will send this request. So if this request is not going correctly, um, if any mistake you have done in request, 400 will come. Unauthorized means suppose the tokens, there will be a token. Okay, they are called dynamic value. If that is not correct, or if you have not entered the username password correctly, unauthorized. It's simple. Forbidden means not allowed. You want to access something and that is not allowed to you. Forbidden. Not found, right? Again, 404 not found means suppose you want information about some stuff, but it's not found on the server side. So that kind of error will come. Method not allowed is what get put post. So suppose any one request is of post, it type should be post, but accidentally you are sending it as a get. So it's a wrong, right? It's a wrong. So you will observe this error. A request timeout is a little bit of server problem or a script problem, both. So these are there. This is one error code 429, too many requests, which is actually a server related error. Okay. If you observe 429 too many requests, it's a problem with the server. Server cannot handle too many requests, and it will throw for 429. Now there is a reason why it's 429, why it is in 400 series. Because what happens when we put a load from a system, right, from one machine, this you will be observing slowly. It might be going over your mind, means it will be going over your head, right? हवा में जा रहा हो सब ऐसे लग रहा हो. So so what will happen from one system? Suppose we generate a 1000 user load or something. So there is catching and firewall mechanism on server side. So they will treat those requests as a hacking or something not correct. Okay, because one system, this much load is coming, where IP address mapping things happens, right? Uh, they do not treat it as a correct or absurd behavior, right? So that's why they throw this error, saying that it's your problem. Okay, the load which is coming, it's that problem. So that is why they can say that too many requests is coming from one system, right? And it's not feasible to entertain like that. Okay. So these are some technical deep dive in when you observe, you will get the idea. So this is actually server problem, but it is categorized as client error. Because little bit it is a client side problem also. Because one system, if you are sending so many requests, right? So because of IP address mapping and cache mechanism and many things, this problem comes up. So this is not a serious error, right? Serious error are mostly if you observe bad request, unauthorized, forbidden, not found, method not allowed. If you see this kind of error, that time you have to check your script, the request you are sending, if anything wrong or is there or what.
Yeah, hi Vallav. So actually, I know this is too early to ask this question, but see, suppose that we are getting the gateway timeout error. So
Mm.
can you brief how do we can fix that timeout error?
Now, why you will fix that gateway time? It's that is where you have to look on the server side. Na? Why this tester will fix?
No, no. Generally, in the JMeter, actually, we are getting the timeout error. So we are increasing the milliseconds, right, to fix
Mm.
this issue. So actually, this is I don't know this is the right approach or not. So just I want to just if you brief on that.
That is not right approach.
Okay.
Time at error comes from server side. Request is getting accessed, and if server is not responding quickly, then people are making it increasing the request timeout connection setting is there. I'll show you that, but it's not useful. If you increase it to 1 minute and if the response is coming in 1 minute, what is the benefit? Why you are doing performance testing?
Okay. So there is another way to do fix that, right?
No, this can't be fixed from our side. This is not a script problem.
So it means that from that
See,
situation,
understand, you have so much experience. Think from your side. If you are increasing the timeout by that, increasing a time in JMeter, making it 60 second or which is 1 minute, and then that request is taking that much time to get it processed. So how much? So it's a delay, right? So whose problem is this?
yeah, that is from the server side that I understood.
Then, mm,
So that time we need to wait for the server to give the right access. Right? We need to wait
mm,
only.
we need to wait. So you can wait, but is that so? That is not a issue. Right? You are making a what we say. You are making a workaround. Okay, in JMeter so that your request should run, but that request is taking 1 minute time to finish itself. 1 minute response time is 1 minute, right? Or like that, 3 minute, 5 minute. What is that? Hmm?
Okay.
We generally do that just to get ourselves correct. That see, my there is no problem in my script. Okay, to tell that because when development work is done, so there is tug of war happens between tester and developer. So if you anything point bug or problem, the developers will always get uh, like they get irritated, right? This is the nature. This is how it goes on. So if you point this is a problem, so they will directly tell you no, this is your problem. So then you increase the time and then you show them, okay, response is coming, but it's taking so much time, right? That's it. So it's for you to prove yourself you are correct. You increase the time and then you get the response somehow from the server. But again, the response time will 1 minute, 2 minute, right? Fine.
Yeah, got it.
So next is transaction or user action. Okay. So we got the idea what is transaction. Any user action we do on a transaction on a website, right? That is technically called as a transaction. And a transaction, always remember, will generate a HTTP HTML request to the server, right? We have seen it. Now remember one thing: uh, a user action can only be called as a valid transaction in performance testing only when it generates some request to the server and some response is received. It means that whenever we are doing anything here, you might have seen that a relevant request is getting generated and a response is received, right? So only those user action. Like on a website, we do many things, right? You browse, you hover your mouse, pop-up button will come, check boxes will be there, yes and no, like many things will be there. So all the thing user does, but can we call them all of them as a transaction? No. You can only call those user action. User action what? Anything you are doing, basically that is click only, right? So any click or any activity you do is a user action. But any activity which you are doing, if it is generating a valid request, means related request, and if a response is received, it will be called as a transaction. Otherwise, it will not be called as a transaction. So the same example, I'll just quick. Actually, it's not needed, but again, I'll just revise. So let us go to Flipkart again. So if you see here, if I'm hovering, some down, you see, menus are getting loaded. If I'm hovering my mouse, somewhere. When I'm hovering, anything happening there? Nothing is happening. So it's not a transaction. Right? Can be called a hovering user action, but it's not a transaction. Like that, that one example. When I entered a wrong mobile number, and when I click on request OTP, this message is come. But here you do not see anything. You ignore this. Right? I tell you why to ignore. For now, let me just try it again. Last time also I've shown, right? So like nothing is happening. This message is coming, but here nothing. So if you think like, oh, this message is coming from server side, no, it's not coming from server side. So you cannot call this activity a transaction because here nothing got generated. This message was auto generated from the JavaScript page. So like that. And if I correct this mobile number, then you see a proper request will be generated. 4, 6, 8, 10. Now you see a proper request got generated, which is carrying my mobile number, and response goes, and response tell that the user is not registered. You might have seen here one message was there. Shall I show you again? Wait, send it again here. Right. So now this is a transaction. Okay, this is a transaction. So got the idea, right? So anything like that, there will be some check boxes on website. We put tick marks or drop down menus are there. Pop-ups comes up. So clicking on them, clicking from drop down menu or check boxes, you can only consider them transaction if you are clicking something from a drop down menu or check boxes, and you see in network tab a particular relevant request is generating to the server, because we need the request. Our job is the request. Request is like a bullet. Request is like an arrow, which is going and putting load on the server, right? It is hitting the server. It's a bullet. So we need the bullet. That is because we have to do a load testing. We have to send that request, same request for one user, for 1,000 users, for 2,000 users. So we need that request, right? If anything is not sending any request, why you will bother about that? First of all, it's simple, very simple, correct? We need that, and that is part of business scenario. That is why it's a valid transaction. We need only we have to focus on request, or only those transactions which is generating request, because we need that request, so that that request can be sent for 100 users, 1,000 users, right? Like this example. Suppose I have captured all this. So these are the requests going, right? Suppose 1,000 people will be opening Amazon. 1,000 people, or let us say 1 lakh people or 10 lakh people will be clicking on refrigerators. 1 lakh people will be, suppose they are going to buy Godrej. So we have to simulate that. That is what performance. We have to do that because real time, in real user, we cannot bring, right? And before making our application ready, we have to test it, so that then only can the application can go in real mode, so a real user can use, right? So we need these requests, right? And since this request will be simulated for 100 users, 1,000 users, 10,000 users, it means that tool will be generating a virtual user. Those virtual users will be sending this request. So suppose 1,000 virtual user generated. So this 1,000 request will go to the server. 1,000 homepage request, 1,000 clicking on the refrigerator request, like that, right? So that is why. You got the idea why we should not bother about irrelevant thing. Only request we need, right? Because we have to get it simulated from the tool. Okay. tool is going to generate that number of users and do that activity. If tool, suppose the buy now has two requests we have just seen, right? So these two requests we need, because if you are going to do buy now load test for that buy now transaction for 100 users, so 100 requests will be going, right? 1000, let us say 1000 requests will be going. So we need those requests like properly simulated. Then only the tool can generate that 1000 users, and it can all 1000 users, virtual user, can send this request, and on the server there is a load for 1000 users. And then we check the behavior, the response time, and the behavior. Fine. Now another thing, this also, many time one transaction can have only one request, and many time one transaction can have multiple requests, like 2-3 requests also. Okay. So this is also possibility. Like, so on Amazon only, just now we have seen that that when we're clicking on most of the thing, it was one request generating. When we clicked on to buy now, two requests was there. One was 3, not 2. Just now I've shown you, right? And then another was 2 requests, right? So like that, it depends on application to application, transaction to transaction. One example I'll show you. So this is suppose one demo website, means practice website, you can say. This is the home page. You see, I launched the home page. So this is the request, only one request, right? And we got the response, and then response got rendered process. So we see the script on fonts and but this is only one request, you see. But if I do the login, you log out 3 requests are there. Login is going to happen, requests are generated. Rendering is taking time, but we already have a request here. We have a response also. We have got the response. So that is the thing. Rendering is taking time. So that is where sometimes we see pages getting slow. Server has already sent the response, but something is taking time here while downloading and rendering. So forget about. So you see, this is one request, this is second, and this is third. Okay, so 3 requests are there. Right? So login transaction is only one, but how many requests? 3 requests were there. Right. So this can happen. Right. So you have to just recognize those 3 requests and keep them for every transaction. So some transaction can have one request, some transaction can have multiple requests, means more than one. These requests are also called as calls or API or endpoints in IT industry. So do not get confused. After that, we have cookies and cache. Shall we discuss? It will take 20 minutes. Not 20, 10 minutes this, 10 minutes this, 20 minutes. Okay, we'll discuss that in next session. Fine then. This is for this much for today. We'll meet on Monday.
Sir, like I have two questions. One is, can we customize the network tab, like the columns there? Because I see the different columns in your screen under network tab. For me, it's a kind of different. I'm not able to see the status first method.
Generally, that is the default behavior.
You using Chrome right now?
In Chrome also it's here, you see.
Okay.
This is Mozilla Firefox. This is Chrome. So Chrome method will be in middle. The status code will be middle. Method it's not showing. Method, when you click on the request, you'll see the method.
Okay.
Mozilla Firefox is best for practicing this. So use Mozilla.
Okay.
Here it gets more better way.
Mhm.
In Google Chrome
Okay.
also, I don't know where to. There will be some setting where you can do. I never tried. Here some settings are there. Here you see setting, and then think we can put some check marks somewhere. Then they will bring them.
Okay.
So I've never on because I have Mozilla Firefox.
Okay. No worry. I'll explore the setting section. And the second question, like the main request always have extension document. Is this?
No, it's not. Document is never the extension. It doesn't have any extension. URLs never. You see, does have any
Like
extension. You
okay.
see, this nothing. No extension, right?
No,
Then
not
what?
extension, but in the column
Type.
type. Yeah.
That is
Sorry, my bad.
initiator
Oh,
and type.
okay. So main request always has a type, and rest others are. Okay.
Initiator document type HTML.
Okay.
But again, you have to be. There can be on a live website. Live means the website those which are more real. Real means which are in use. So these are live website. These website which we see are called live website or production website. So in this there are many other calls also. You do not get confused with them. Like this is Flipkart, and you will see this call will be repeatedly being made. Just wait. Let me just click somewhere. Wait, I just stop. So this is Mozilla Firefox. Okay, let me load it. See, even if I'm not doing anything, you will observe this will be getting repeated. But again, not to worry because that type it's showing some CIF or etc. Okay. And request is post. So these are live website. What happens on live website? Some calls are being made even you do not know to collect the status and other thing. So you might get confused with this call. So ignore this call. You have to just focus on the main call. Generally, that will be on top. It will be coming of type document and HTML, right? You see, document HTML. And when you click on that, first of all, how to verify? So when you will be clicking on that, you will be getting the response. You will be getting the response, which will be mimicking, and that way you'll get to know that this is the main call. That's it. And you can just click here, and then you can see the source code. And more if you want to verify, so it will be of initiator document type HTML. And if you see their size, the size will be more compared to all other call. If you observe, the size will be because that is bringing the main response. So that's why size will also be big. That way you can verify. And then there are filters also. Like no need to focus on embedded resources. We have to only focus on HTML file, HTML and XHR. So if you just click on these two, currently all is clicked. So that's why all it's showing all. But if you click on HTML and XHR, two things you have to focus. So you see many things will be filtered out. So now only this and this is. So now in this also, if you observe, it's showing many things as HTML, but those are not the main call. Here, if you observe, it's showing type as HTML, but it's an image. So little bit confusing it can be. So better you see document and HTML, their size you'll observe it will be more, right, compared to all other sizes over here. And if you click on them, that is the main important thing, that if you are clicking on that, it will be having the main response. Right? It should have the main response. If you click anywhere on this, nothing, you will find nothing, even there HTML or whatever. Right. So that is the main way to identify. Right.
Okay, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Fine. Fine then.
Thank you.
Thank you.